Under the same moon, we share the love, embracing the differences like hand in glove. Spreading peace and joy, it's a beautiful sight. Together we shine in each other's light. And now do we stand in love's pure mind, watching the world share in love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony painting the night. And now do we stand in love's pure mind.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in and watching the world. Again, we have another day. It's so good to be alive and stress-free. We know that there's a lot happening in the world, and each day we try to bring you the latest news, bring it all to you under one lunch break. Can you believe that? Today we're going to talk about different subjects. We're going to go all the way from the election. There's a lot of questions about the election, folks. People still believe that Elon Musk may reveal that there was something a little fishy about the election, but who knows? We will discover some of those points. There's also a big campaign where Christians around the world are being attacked. In fact, some of them are losing their lives. So we're going to touch into that a bit as well. We're also going to touch into the pictures that came out that were released in regards to Epstein's apartment. And who do you think some of the pictures on Epstein's desk were? Who were some of those individuals? Well, we have it. We're going to get right to it. But first, we're going to start off with the election. And I have a compilation of videos that's going to give you a different spin of what people are saying when it comes to the election. Let's get to it.
I'm fucked. If we lose, I'm fucked.
It does seem that way.
I'm a technologist. I know a lot about computers. And I'm like, the last thing I would do is trust a computer program. Because it's just too easy to hack. It's too easy to add just one line.
And he knows those computers better than anybody. All those computers, those...
So Donald Trump says that Elon Musk knows those computers, folks. Is there something to consider?
Vote counting computers. And we ended up winning Pennsylvania like in a landslide, so it was pretty good. It was pretty good. So thank you to Elon.
He said, you know, computers are the greatest. He looked at some that were just shipped in, some of these vote counting computers. He knew it before it even came in the door. He looked like at the back of it. Oh, I know that one. I mean, he knows that's how, I mean, he knows this stuff better than anyone.
Then they rigged the election, and now we won, so I'm going to be your president for the Olympics. You don't have to vote. Don't worry about voting. The voting, we got plenty of votes. Yeah.
All right. So what do you guys think? Are you with the crowd that think that the election was rigged? What do you guys think? Okay, we have JDP here. Welcome to you. She says, hello, Mel in chat. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day. It's definitely wonderful to have you here. One of our moderators. Thank you so much for teaming up with me. I look forward to building with you. I think you're an amazing individual. Drabanat is here. Drabanat always supports the channel. I appreciate you, Drabanat. Thanks for checking in for the lunch break news. And JDP, hello back to you. So we're digging into this video. Many people think that the election was rigged. We have a lot of people coming in. Please hit the like button and also share and subscribe if you like the material. We bring you the hot clips or the hot news. We compile it all for you in one place for your lunch break. Let's have back at it.
We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
And I said, we have nothing to hide as Republicans, right? We have nothing to hide.
But look at the data as it comes in from every county in Pennsylvania.
Oh, he can tell us.
Actually, the Sunday before the election, I had the opportunity to meet with Elon Musk at his house for a couple hours to talk about the election. And aren't you all glad he's on our side?
All right, so they were happy that Elon Musk was on the Republican side, but right now he's no longer on the Republican side. In fact, he started his own party. Have you guys joined it? Have you considered it? What is this new party about? It's called the American Party. But some of these individuals make you wonder, Could something have happened with the election?
And he told me, he said, I can tell you right now, I'm responsible for this. He said, I'm involved in every battleground state, and we're going to win every battleground state. And I am convinced that whatever he did, whatever rocket science thing he did, made a huge difference in this election.
Apparently.
Okay, so he said Elon Musk is a rocket scientist and he did some extraordinary things to win the election. We want to know, what were those things? Now that Elon Musk is no longer a great fan of Donald Trump, maybe he will reveal, or maybe it was just totally legitimate. But this is a concern that a lot of people have. We're just covering it for the lunch break. Talib Muhammad says 3 votes were challenged by zip codes throughout the country. Okay, all right. So we have someone else thinking perhaps that there was something a little weird happening, something quite fishy.
Elon created an app, and he knew who won 4 hours before the results. So as the results were coming in, 4 hours before they called it, Dana White told me, Elon, fuck, dude.
Okay, so Elon Musk knew 4 hours ahead of time. He created an app. He had a straightaway knowledge as to what would happen with the election before anyone else would know. So this is why people are up in arms trying to figure out perhaps Elon Musk is going to reveal something more in regards to this election. Thank you, JDP, for covering the crowd. I really do appreciate you. Now, this morning I received information. The first message I received this morning was someone talking about the new information in regards to Diddy. As many of you may know, Sean Puffy Combs' attorneys have been making their circuit. They've been making their rounds, going to different channels and different networks, talking about the trial, revealing a lot of information that many of us were wondering about. Well, one of the things that allegedly Mark Agnifilo, who is Diddy's primary attorney, allegedly Diddy has a big Madison Square Garden tour coming once he's released from jail. The question is, folks, will you be attending? Let's have at it. It broke this morning on the New York Post. It says Sean Diddy Combs plotting major career comeback at the Madison Square Garden after prison release. This comes from his attorney, I believe, Mark Agnifilo. So what do you guys think? Do you think that this is a bad move or a very good move? Or do you think it's just for publicity? What would a judge think? What are people thinking in general? It says Sean Diddy Combs is gearing up for a major music comeback, and he's landed on Madison Square Garden at his stage. Now, I've actually seen Diddy perform at the Madison Square Garden at a Jay-Z concert probably about twice over the last 20 years. So he's not new to that stage. It says the Bad Boy Records founder, who was found guilty of 2 counts of prostitution but acquitted of sex trafficking and racketeering charges in July, is looking ahead to return to the rap scene. Okay, he's going to be a rapper again. His lawyer has revealed. Mark Agnifilo. So what do you guys think? Are you guys lining up to buy your tickets to see Diddy perform? Diddy and his friends or associates? That would be quite interesting, I must say. All right, JDP says, thank you, Mel, for making me moderator. Definitely was a shocker. Well, you deserve it. I hope you say you're happy with it. I'm happy with you about it. I didn't get a chance to talk to you, but I kind of felt like you were on deck. Mashona says, hey, Mel in chat. Okay, thank you. Mashona says, welcome in and thanks for joining the conversation. Did you remember to hit the like on your way in? Please like, share, and subscribe. Yesterday, folks, we had 64,000 people come through. I thought that was so amazing. All right, we have Lavender Smile, Hair and Style. She is in the building. I looked at her channel today. Check her out, Lavender Smile, Hair and Style. I think she had an upcoming, hopefully she didn't film it already, but she had a live coming up, folks, showing people, especially it's great for your children, showing them how to braid their hair and all sorts of fine things. You would really enjoy their channel, and I like promoting. They're going to be the subscriber of the day. So go check them out. Go give them a like. Give them a lot of support. They well deserve it. Okay, Sharon is here. Shout out to you, Sharon. She says, hello, Mel in chat. Okay, Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Okay. And let's see, Gold Digger's here. Hi there. Shout out to you, Gold Digger. You're always here, and I appreciate you. Wanda Murray also says hello to all and blessings. So let's get to, we've already covered when it comes to Donald Trump, and perhaps many people think that the election is rigged. We've also talked about Sean Diddy Combs, but now we're going to talk about what they discovered in Epstein's, or they released the pictures that came from Epstein's New York City apartment. I think he had a large condo, humongous, folks. But let's look into what they found. It might tell us a little bit about what was happening.
Decorated, as the New York Times describes, in Epstein's eccentric style. There was a sculpture of a woman in a bridal dress clinging to a rope suspended from a ceiling, a taxidermied tiger lounging in Epstein's office, and the infamous massage parlor connected to Epstein's bedroom. The New York Times also shows photographs that Epstein displayed at his apartment of himself with some of the most prominent people in the world. Okay, and we're not using that word lightly. A photo from 2000 of Donald Trump with his then girlfriend Melania Knauss. Sure, that's one person.
Okay, so Donald Trump has a frontline picture on Epstein's dresser. What does that tell us, folks? I do not know, but it's something to consider. Hamdi Sauce says the hat with the suit. All right, laugh out loud. Doris says, why won't they release him? Can you say Epstein? Is there a connection between the two? Do they know the same people? Very good question. It might be something there to take a look at. Hamdi says Epstein is connected to Israel. They have all these people by the testicles. Oh, wow. JDP says hello to you, Doris and Hamdi. Okay, let's get back to it. But before we even start the video, folks, we see none other than Bill Clinton. Now, let me tell you guys something. I did not plan this to be a part of the show, but I will talk about it. It looks like Donald Trump is on a campaign after the individuals that were bringing him a lot of hardship when he wasn't president. I believe Adam Schiff, they're going after him, doing some research on his mortgage, folks. We've heard that one before. It won't be pretty when Donald Trump looks at your mortgage application, right? That happened to the lady here in New York City, the lead attorney, right? They looked into her mortgage and now she has a lot of legal issues. I don't even hear from her a lot anymore. But also, Donald Trump reportedly said that Bill Clinton is going to be facing a lot of heat over the next couple of weeks. So that's something for us to consider. It looks like Donald Trump is turning the table. In fact, even with Charlemagne the God, you heard Donald Trump making statements about him as well. So the list goes on and on. In fact, even with Sean Diddy Combs, we went over in the video yesterday, he made an effort to say he wasn't considering perhaps even giving him a pardon because when he was running for president, Diddy was talking about him, folks. Let's get back to the video.
And Bill Clinton and Epstein and another, Epstein with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman. That picture also there, just to name a few. And 40 room.
So already we see Epstein was tied into some of the most powerful individuals, not only in the United States, but in the world. Keep watching.
Townhouse. I mean, it's a mansion. He renovated it fully. He redecorated it. And what you have described in your report, Steve, is an eccentric style. What stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think in a word, creepy. I mean, I think that there are things that you would look around and you would see, like you mentioned at the top of this, the taxidermy.
That's a word, creepy. That's how he's describing what was at Epstein's place, along with the photos that came out. Something to think about. All right, so let's get back to a couple of comments. I want to make sure everybody gets heard today for the lunch break. New York fan Jan says, why is Trump and the Republicans fighting so hard to suppress the files? Good question. Madeline says, Epstein equals Mossad. Okay, I think Tucker Carlson is the one that leads the way with that argument. We're going to be covering that soon, but we have to tread lightly when we talk about Israel because we don't want that major smoke, right? The Matthew 427 says, easy to do when you redact your name from the files, right? We learned about that last week. There was breaking news, I believe, on Thursday or Friday that before Donald Trump's the files were given, it says that I believe it was the FBI redacted his name. So there's something there to consider. Doesn't mean that the president did something nefarious, but it's something to think about. Lavender shouts out, she says, shouts out to you, Mashona. New York Fan Jan says, we are not a country of laws anymore. Okay, so New York Fan Jan, tell us what we are, what's happening in America. Handy says, Clinton was probably doing crazy things with the girls. Oh my, Lord have mercy. I'll be doggone. Nick Sear says, but forget that Trump was best friends with Epstein. Okay. Epstein, in the video that I showed over the weekend, Epstein says that Donald Trump was his best friend for 10 years. So that came out of the horse's mouth, as they would say, that came out of Epstein's mouth. Hamdi says they have him on camera. Okay. All right. Thank you for your input. Thank you guys for the like, share, and subscriptions. I really do appreciate it. Mashona says, welcome in and thank you for joining the conversation. Did you remember to hit the like button on your way in? If you did so, we appreciate it greatly. New York Fan Jan says, this is all smoke. Anyone can plainly see this is a cover-up. All right, so tell us what that cover-up is. Break it down for us. We want to know. We'd like to hear from you guys. We want to hear from everybody. Alien says it's the Trump files, and yes, Epstein is in there. Okay, so Donald Trump says that, or Elon says that Trump is in the Epstein files. Alien Chemtrail says no, it's the other way around. Epstein is in the Trump files. Oh my, that's a good perspective. Mashona says, please like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Hamdi says, creepy. It's normal for many circles. I would say rightly so, especially when there's a lot of money involved. USA says everyone. Okay. Alien Chemtrail says hi to you, Mashona. Mashona, I'm sure, is saying hi back. Hamdi, all of the rooms had hidden cams in them. You know, in the video that I just showed, you'll see that there are cameras. It's going to highlight in this video that there were cameras in every room. What a great point you made, Hamdi. We're going to call you the detective of today. All right. JDP says, hi, Crystal. Thank you, JDP. Bordeaux is here. Bordeaux is in the building, leading the way. She says, hey, sorry, everyone, I'm late. I had to get a new phone. All right. So we hope that worked out good for you and you didn't spend all of your money. Those phones are so expensive, especially if you go to Verizon. USA says Illinois for Trump. JD Vance, let's go. Okay, we have some Trump supporters in the building and they want to be heard. JDP says, how do you, Alien? John says, I think you're confused. Reality, the Democrats have been blocked Epstein files for years. So the Democrats are the reason why these files haven't come out. Why would you say why is that happening, John? Is there someone they're trying to hide, or maybe a few people? Tell us all about it. Okay, let's get back to the video, guys.
Tiger, you know, for example, there was the sculpture of a woman wearing a bridal gown and clutching a rope in the central atrium of the home, framed prosthetic eyeballs lining an entryway, just sort of a general strangeness, creepiness, you know, to the home, you know, throughout. Leopard print chairs, you know, for example, were among the things that we could detect and included in our report.
Okay, so Epstein had a lot of prominent individuals in the video. He also had cameras in every room. Appeared to be cameras in just about each corner of the room. So there's a lot of information that he saved. And the question is, who has that information, right? Somebody must have the information, folks. So that covers it for the Epstein saga for today. The next subject that we're going to get into is something that's hot on the press, the redistricting of Texas. As you noted on this channel, we discussed, even with a panel the other night, how Democrats have fled Texas, and some of them perhaps are even gearing up to flee Louisiana to avoid their vote. And so the governor, Abbott, has put out a warrant to bring them back and force them to make that vote. So let's get into it. Let's see what it's all about. I would love to hear your comments in regards to what's happening in Texas. And not only is it happening in Texas, it's now happening, I believe, in Illinois, and also New York is turning the table and deciding to do the same thing as well.
As doing what Donald Trump wants him to do. I mean, we need to get more seats for Donald Trump, for Donald Trump's,
Now, guys, as we listen to this, I want you to keep in mind that the midterm elections are coming up soon. And I think, this is just my opinion, I think this is a strategy because they may think that with all this bad press from Epstein, that Donald Trump may not be able to hold on to the big lead that they have across the board. So let's check it out.
MAGA agenda. It's crazy. There is for Republicans, there's no moral high ground here. Just like when Democrats do this in their states, there's no moral high ground for them there. But here people talking, at least that guy was being honest.
Do you guys agree? Do you think Democrats have a double standard and also the Republicans?
He is nothing but a servant for Donald Trump and not people in his own district. But what's happening here and what happens with gerrymandering is the undermining of the very American concept of one person, one vote. One person, one vote. These districts are going to be so gerrymandered that Democrats and
Hey guys, I'm going to give $20 to the first person that could put the definition for gerrymandering in the chat. Let's see who can do it.
Republicans could have a 50-50 split in vote totals in the state of Texas, just like they have in the state of Wisconsin. And you could have congressional seats.
And guys, we get so many comments, so I would like for one of the moderators to tell me who won and also make sure they get the email address so that I can make sure I give them a Cash App or whatever they like to get paid.
Swinging 70%, 75% one way. It's what happened in Wisconsin. Republicans starting after the 2010 elections, working hard to gerrymander Wisconsin. So even when Democrats split the vote in Wisconsin, Republicans still had almost a super majority in the state legislature. It's not democratic. It's not American. It's an un-American concept. It departs from the one person, one vote concept that we've had in this country.
So basically, they're executing the redistrict much earlier just to get an edge so that the Republicans can have more of the lion's share. Do you guys think that that's appropriate? Do you think that is legal? Tell us all about it. What are your thoughts?
And so, again, these Republicans can do what they want to do. At the end of the day, they're just going to force California's hand and other blue states' hands. And so it's going to make democracy more unrepresentative across the board and across the states. This is a terrible idea. And this is why you usually only reapportion after.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick break so we can get through a few of the comments. I know you guys want to be heard. William Evans, thanks for joining the crew. Says, LOL, of course they did. Democrats will say anything for their agenda. Okay, thank you, William, for your expression. I appreciate it. Thanks for all you do, and thanks for joining us here. DLLS, I believe 951 says, I see Bill Clinton in a blue dress. Oh, my. Where did you see that at? I heard that rumor. I have not seen that officially. That's very interesting, though. Gold Digger says, sounds like Trump's own personal hit list. What a way to live life, always in a dogfight with somebody. Okay, so she says Donald Trump is after the people that he's not happy with. JDP says hi to you, DSL. Okay, 951. Hamdi says the cover-up doesn't need philosophy. It's blackmail. Okay, so there's a lot of blackmail happening. Okay, Richard is not happy with CNN. In fact, he says F CNN. A lot of people feel that way. Why do you guys not like CNN? I kind of look at them all across the board to get more of a balanced view. I don't really get upset with either one. I take all of them with a grain of salt. Mashona says, welcome in and thanks for joining. We want to hear from you. We just ask that you be respectful to each other and watch your language in the chat and respect YouTube policies. Okay. OG is in the building. FDJT. Okay. So he's not happy with Donald Trump. And we know what that means whenever it starts with the F. JDP says, how do you, Richard? Richard says, if Trump was guilty of anything, Biden would have used it against him. Think about it. So this is not a Trump thing. It's others that I think Trump is helping. That's all. Okay, so he doesn't think Donald Trump did anything wrong per se. Okay, Hanny says, hey, from Denmark. His is absolute insane. Sorry for you. Okay. All right. Thank you for your comment. JDP says hello to you, OG. Okay. John says good morning. Thank you, John McKee, for being here. We appreciate you and all you do. Yes, me said it. Says be respectful to the rules say. Okay, we have to be respectful. Hamdi says, no, Richard, he won't. Biden's friends are on it too. It's not a Democrat or a Republican thing. Okay, so as many people are saying, the Democrats and the Republicans and probably some of those third-party members were at the island too, folks. What was happening at the island? B. Scott, welcome in. Thank you for being here. If Trump wasn't guilty, he would release the files. Good point. Plain and simple, right? Occam's razor, right? You guys are familiar with Occam's razor. The simplest is probably what's true. Hamdi says Democrats and Republicans are on the list. That's so true. That is so true. Okay. JDP says, hi, John. And yes, me said it. Okay. Yes, me said it. Then you have some half-wits saying F Donald Trump. Okay. So yes, me is not happy with that. Hamdi says, stop deflecting. Okay. Richard says, if Trump did anything, okay. Bruno says it's all AI. Perhaps AI is dangerous. What do you guys think? You think these videos are AI or the pictures are AI? Tell us what you think. Let's get back to the video. And thank you for the comments. Thank you for liking. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for all you guys do.
After a census every 10 years.
Exactly. That's what's different here. Reverend Al Sharpton, still with us. Joining the conversation, we have NBC News national affairs analyst and partner and chief political columnist at Puck, John Heilman, and Pulitzer Prize-winning author and presidential historian, Doris Kearns Goodwin. I can't wait to hear from Doris, but John, I just want to start with you on the politics of this. Where do you see this going?
To hell, Mika, I think is where I see it going.
All right, he says it's going to hell, folks, going straight to hell in a handbasket.
You know, I'm struck by this language of mutually assured destruction because, of course, mutually assured destruction rests on the notion that you have two rational actors on each side and that the arms that they have are roughly equal. So, you know, I could destroy your country, you could destroy my country. So we both recognize that it's in our interest not to launch a first strike. What you have here is something totally different, which is you're on this escalation ladder where Republicans don't think that Democrats have the firepower to be able to destroy them because Republicans right now control the majority of state legislatures, control the majority of governorships, control the majority of seats in the House, seats in the Senate, and the White House. Joe has pointed out 100 times and has pointed out this morning that, of course, that is not a fixed thing. That could change 2 years from now, 4 years from now, 6 years from now. But in the meantime, you have Republicans thinking that they don't have a price to pay for doing what they're doing. And this comes back to the question, again, something Joe just said a minute ago, which is these things used to happen. Usually we do them around the census every 10 years. That is another illustration of the difference between laws and norms. And what we've learned in the Trump era is that things that a lot of normal people thought were laws, that this somehow was written down somewhere, that redistricting happened every 10 years with the census. Turns out that's not true. Turns out it's a norm. And what has happened in the course of the Trump era is that the president and his party have decided there's very little price to pay politically for violating norms. As long as it's not against the law. Now, they violate some laws, too. But as long as it's not against the law, their attitude is, well, we're just going to do what we want to do here and see if anybody's going to try to stop us. And I don't see an end to this. I think the escalation ladder, I think Republicans are going to do what they're going to do here. I don't see who's going to blink in this fight. And I think it just makes it's driving us towards a place where all of the problems that we confront in terms of polarization are just going to get worse and worse and worse as these states get more and more.
So what do you guys think? Are you guys upset that they're doing this? It seems to be spreading across the United States like wildfire. Everybody's jumping in on the idea. What do you guys think? We want to hear from you. Debbie says, thank God for President Trump. Okay, so she's very happy with Donald Trump. USA says, we the people vote God, family, country, freedom. Okay, B. Scott says, yes, me. Do you need a tissue? Okay. Richard E. says, and thank you guys for being here. Richard, welcome as well. If Trump did anything, when he whacks. Okay. JDP says, how do you, Bruno and Debbie? Yes, me says, if Trump is guilty, let's see. If it's not, let's see that too. Okay. All right. People want to know what's going to happen with Trump. Eddie says, who cares? Eddie does not care, apparently. Okay. Well, welcome to you, Eddie. We hope that you enjoy the show. Richard says, if Trump was there and did anything, the Dems would have exposed the list in a heartbeat, in a jumping jack flash. Believe that. I can vouch for you there, Richard. It makes sense to me. You're a thinking man. Okay. Bruno says, it will go to court and Trump will win again. Trump always wins. Okay, let's see about that. Now, wait a minute. I went to Donald Trump's trial here in New York City, and he walked away with 34 felonies. I was there. Donald Trump walked right past me. And again, a lot of things we hear about the president is untrue. A lot of people say he was short and stubby. The guy's pretty tall. I'd say he's around 6'2" or something like that. So just a side point, but I was in court with him quite frequently, attending his trial. Bradley says, and he walked away with 34 felonies, and right before he was to be sentenced, he became the president. He won big, folks. You just have to factor that in. Bradley says they hate each other. Okay. Marks with the blue hair says MSNBC talking about morality. Okay. Get the freak out of here. Okay. Thank you, Mark, for your comment. Al Bush says, gotta say, like the Diddy trials, their degrees of culpability so far, the closest to Epstein and Maxwell and Donald Trump opened the files. Okay, he wants to see what's in the files.
Or gerrymandered rather than less and less.
Yeah, you know, and what goes around comes around again. And it's, John, it's as if these Republicans think they're going to be in power forever. I remember during the Clinton impeachment process when some of the more extreme moves were being suggested. I remember laughing and saying to some of my fellow Republican members, I go, you all are acting as if there will never be a Republican president in the White House again. And be very careful. The standards that you set for Bill Clinton today will be set for a Republican president in the coming years. And John, what is so, again, insane about this, and
he makes a good point, because now Donald Trump has all the power, right?
So insane about the political norms and the constitutional norms that Republicans are happily breaking right now, all the things that they're doing. They're acting as if they're always going to be the majority. They're just not.
Right.
You look back over the past 25 years, there is a constant reshuffling every 2, every 4 years. And what are they going to do when a progressive president who may not have America's best interests in mind, but have her or his interests, selfish interests, like certain Republican presidents, decides to turn all of this on Republicans, decides to turn all of this on conservatives. What even a greater threat than that is what happens when a billionaire, megalomaniac, who owns, let's say, a monopoly in Silicon Valley, decides to run as an independent. Right. And decides to trample on the rights of Republicans and Democrats alike. What happens then? What do? They use the precedents that are being laid out here every day by this Republican Congress that sits back.
I mean, he makes a good point. It's just a matter of time before you get another president that may have a tough agenda, and he might win and have the same approach that Donald Trump has. He makes a good point. Ryan says, why are you guys even talking about? You don't care about Epstein. You never have. And no, it doesn't hurt anything. He's still the best president ever. Okay, Ryan, thank you for your comment. I appreciate it. Z says Americans aren't stupid anymore. They don't fall for Democrat bullshit anymore. Democrats just distract and manipulate. So it's the Democrats are the culprits, according to Z's. FC says what's happening in Texas is what's happening in every state. One party's redistricting is the other party's gerrymandering. Okay, all right. Mashona says, yes, the GOP is trying to hold their position. This may backfire, but who cares? They did the same thing in South Carolina, I believe. These politicians are all the same. They're all the same, folks. You better believe it. John Polich, welcome back. When did the Democrats say we do it, but that's okay? Good point. Good litigator there, John. I like your point. JDP says, hi, Bradley, Ryan, Mark, and FC. Yes, we welcome you all. We appreciate having you. Lee Diggs says, yes, Dems have a double standard. They have gerrymander California. Okay, so they're culprits as well. All right. Dan Venn says, personally, I think what they're doing is setting it up early to claim that the midterms were stolen by the Republicans. Good point. I hadn't thought about that. Thank you, Dan, thank you for being here. Thanks for your participation. I appreciate it. Keep it coming. Ron's Easy Fix says Democrats do have double standards. Okay. John Polich says Republicans are terrified about losing red states in 2026, so they must cheat. You mean to tell me they're already cheating, John? Oh, my goodness. Google Sucks says it's changing the lines of districts to make a state one political party's majority. Okay, so they're changing things up to posture themselves for a win in 2026. Let's get back to it.
Every day and allows political norms and constitutional norms to be broken. Am I right now talking about what Donald Trump and the Republicans in Congress are doing affecting us today? No, I'm not. I'm talking about what I've seen over the past 30 years in Washington, D.C., what comes around, goes around, comes around, goes around, and they will rue the day, Republicans will rue the day that they have sat back and bankrupted this country, cut health.
Folks, it's a vicious cycle because everybody wants to fight. No one really wants to work together, so we keep going back and forth to no avail.
Care. Breached constitutional norms, breached political norms, breached all of these norms that, again, are going to be breached in the future, either by a progressive president against conservatives or in.
All these changes is happening in connection with the Project 2025 with Donald Trump. It's just a matter of time before you get a new Democratic, or you might even get one of Elon Musk's American Party members, and everything is going to change again, right, folks? Ron's Easy Fix. Thank you, Ron, for your continued comments. Says term limits. Okay. Lee Higgs is the winner. Okay. Gerrymandering definition rigged. Okay. I thought it was the definition coming. Not yet. Gary Graves says Harris Winfrey 2028 for real leadership. Okay, so you want Harris back on the ticket. That's going to be a tough one. I don't think people are ready to have Harris back on the ticket from what I've been hearing, sitting where I sit at. Bruno says the system has been gerrymandered for the last 60 years. Time to clean it up. Clean out the closet, folks. Wildflower Fire says, Joe, you already bent the knee. How are we supposed to trust you? Don't get me wrong. I like to trust you. You just have to explain how we're supposed to trust you when you're bent the knee. Okay, so Joe bent the knee. John is back with another comment. Democrats and Republicans gerrymander every 10 years. They both do it, but Republicans want to do it 6 years early. And that's the problem. That's what everybody's upset about. And they're framing it as being illegal. Ron's Easy Fix says Democrats do this all the time. Okay, it's not something new.
Independent megalomaniac president against both sides.
That's a highly rational view of the situation, Joe. And I agree with you. What in the last 30 years, there have been a lot of cases where what has gone around has come around. But here's the difference. And you can't say this without sounding partisan, but I'll say it anyway. There's never been a Democratic president or a Democratic Congress that has openly campaigned and then governed by the principle of I am your retribution. What has gone around sometimes has come back around. Yeah. But I'm just saying what Republicans are banking on now is that Democrats will do what Democrats have often done in the past, which is to say that they will do to Republicans what Republicans have done to them. And then when they get in power, say, we respect norms and we have to play by the rules. We want to do the right thing. And the cold-eyed view of this is that Democrats, this is what Beto O'Rourke has been saying for the last month.
So for those that have just come in the building, into the room, we appreciate having you here. Please hit the like button if you like the material. We're considering the information about what's happening in Texas and why so many Democrats have fled to other states such as Illinois and New York to prevent themselves from participating in a vote.
Democrats constantly want to win the argument, want to do what's right, want to respect institutions, want to respect the norms and the laws and the Constitution, and Republicans want power. And Republicans don't care about the rest of that stuff when it comes right down to it. And Beto O'Rourke's position is Democrats have to start actually doing what Republicans do, which is being ruthless and caring about power and not caring about being right or being good.
What do you guys think? You think Democrats are just too nicey folks? Is that the problem? That's the argument that they're presenting. The Democrats want everybody to get along, and the Republicans are straight to the point and not pulling any punches. Which way do you think really wins at the end of the day? Tell us all about it.
Good or being seen as being on the side of Democratic norms. I'm not going to take a position in that fight, but I will say that in the game theory of this is what Republicans are betting. Republicans are betting that what goes around won't come around. And the Democrats in the end, when they get power...
Because Democrats are weak.
Will back
Democrats
down.
are weak.
Oh, no, the Democrats are weak. Did you guys hear that? Any Democrats in the building? Are you feeling weak today? Do you need a glass of milk? That's what they're saying. All right, Google Suck says hello. Okay, George Diaz says the Democrats always gerrymandered manipulation. Okay, all right. Thank you, George. Please come back to hang out with us again. We do this every day at lunch. We will have a show tonight as well at 8 o'clock. Please tune in. We're going to deep dive into some good points I think you'll enjoy before you retire for tonight. Gold Digger says a political tactic of manipulating the boundaries of electoral districts to favor one political party. Okay. Gold Digger is the winner. Gold Digger, make sure you send me your information. I think we already have an email thread going anyway, but send me your Cash App. Scott Drill Sergeant says reassigning congressional or other districts to ensure a certain population and prominent in the district to get a party in power. Okay, Scott Drill, thank you for the definition as well. Send me over. I'm going to pay a double. I'll get 2 winners just because you participated, and I like the people that participate and support the channel. So, Scott, we're going to drop the email address. It's watchingtheworld777@gmail. Same as the channel name. Just add the @gmail. Send me your Cash App, and you will get it right away. Ron's Easy Fix says, yes, it's about time. No war money for the people. Okay, very good. Let's get back to the video.
They don't know how to fight. They don't know how to fight. They're
That's
weak.
what Republicans think.
They've always been weak. You have to go back to Bill Clinton, who said it's better to be strong and wrong than weak, because you lose when you're weak. And we've seen it time and time again. Barack Obama, he could be tough. He knew how to throw some people under the bus when he needed to. But, during Joe Biden's term, it was such BS. I'm actually cleaning up my language for this morning. I guess because Doris is here and she...
Okay, so that was quite the video in regards to what's happening in Texas. We're going to have another panel. We're going to discuss what's happening in Texas. I have an attorney coming through. Have a lot of exciting people coming to the channel. Have a few celebrities. We even have a body language expert that's going to be coming back. So stay tuned. I have a celebrity that has done a lot of time in prison that's going to be coming on the channel to talk about his experience and why, even after he became such a big time R&B singer, how did he end up back in prison for such a long time? So some great content coming your way. Today, we're going to end on such a tough note because, as you know, Christianity is a large segment when it comes to religions. And right now, around the world, different Christians are being targeted as far as people are actually taking their lives. And not only Christians, but other religions as well. So we're going to go over what's happening right now over in Africa. And we see that ISIS is really bringing on the heat for these individuals. So let's have at it.
We see rampaging jihadist groups from West Africa, and even in the well, what we see in Africa today is a kind of silent genocide or silent, brutal, savage war that is occurring in the shadows and all too often ignored by the international community. We see rampaging jihadist groups from West Africa, and even in the south in Mozambique. So that's a tremendous challenge that we're seeing occurring now. The fact, for example, that jihadist groups are in a position to take over not one, not two, but several countries in Africa, take over the whole country or most of several countries.
What I want you to pay attention to when it comes to this video is that all of these individuals are fighting basically at the root of the matter. They're fighting and supporting their God. At the base of all this violence that's occurring between these groups, it's all about entitlement for their group and who they belong to. And it's quite sad because a lot of people are losing their lives over religion. And I know it's a really tough subject, but that's what's at the root of this.
Is dangerous. It's very dangerous for the national security of the United States, let alone the security of the poor people who are there, Christians or Muslims or whoever they are. The goal is eliminating Christian communities. Yes, completely. Basically, what these jihadist groups is they push down from safe havens that they have, and they want to eliminate all the Christians in that area, take that area over, and keep pushing, right? Keep pushing and pushing as far as they can go. And non-Christians, say the Muslim population, and these places have Muslim populations, are given a choice: either join us or you too will face killing and annihilation. Christians, of course, are not going to be asked.
Man, what a way to recruit people, right? That's strong arming to the third power. Okay, so John Pollock says, I swear I honestly believe that all of MAGA and Republicans all share the same brain cell. Okay, thank you, John, for your comment. USA says, God, family, country, Trump, 2028. Okay, you want Donald Trump back in again. AZ says, redrawing districts in a state to get a majority where none exists. It has been done. It is bad move, creates a lack of true representation. Thank you for that breakdown. I appreciate your comment. Lee Higgs is back. He says, I guess we have a rigged system in California, Oregon, Washington State, and New York. Okay. Marks with blue hair says manipulation of boundaries to help one party over the other. Thanks for that definition. We appreciate that as well. TD says, if the Democrats can do it, just Illinois, you people need to look at their map. Okay, I'll definitely make a note and look at the Illinois map. Ron's Easy Fix says Democrats put money in their pockets. Oh, wow. Break that down further for us, Ron. We appreciate all these comments coming from you. Famu says hi. Okay, shout out to you as well. Don Vin says gerrymandering is manipulating the district boundaries to favor one party. I grew up in one of those. Okay. Sheila says, and thank you for the definition. Sheila says, one more step descending into authoritization, and Trump is taking us there. Okay. Thank you very much. White Ron Guard says, nothing is more pathetic than the Christian persecution complex. Despite every president has been a Christian, our pledge of allegiance is to the Christian God. Where are you under attack? Okay. Well, in this video, they are definitely attacking Christians and taking their lives. So that's what that video is about. USA says, okay, Benny Johnson. Okay, very good. Mashona says, welcome in and thanks for joining the conversation. Did you remember to hit the like button on your way in? Thank you for all those that did. Painstone says Democrats have already maxed their states. The Democrats are mad that they can't gerrymander the red states. Okay. AZ says, saw it. Blue dress, white lace, color, cross legs. So you're saying that Bill Clinton had on a blue dress with white lace colored cross legs. That was a picture in Epstein's house, allegedly, right? Okay, I have not seen that, so I can't speak on that. Susanna says GOP are grifters wanting something for doing nothing for the people they take from. Business as usual. Oh my, those Republicans. AZ says CNN makes me cringe. Okay. A lot of people do not like CNN on this in the chat section. Bronze Easy Fix says Trump was shot and orchestrated it. And who orchestrated it? Wow, that's a good question. All right, Scott Drill says hello to everyone. Thanks. Nice to have you here, Scott.
To join, Christians are going to be targeted and destroyed. Well, certainly the president's initiative or the administration's initiative in stopping the growing war between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, its neighbor, is very significant because this could have become, a terrible war. We had some years ago what people called Africa's World War, which took place in Congo, and we had 8, 9 countries sending their armies in. And we know that jihadists like to take advantage of vacuums, security vacuums, ungoverned spaces. So the more there's a war going on, say between governments, say Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, the more space you create for ISIS and other groups, terrorist groups, criminal groups, to come in and fill space that maybe there aren't troops to take care of them, maybe there aren't police to take care of them, the economic situation is worse. So it is all interconnected. So it's very good that the administration was able to broker a ceasefire between those two countries, even though they're not, obviously neither side is a jihadist entity, but the fact that they're fighting weakens the anti-jihadist fight occurring elsewhere. Well, I'm no fan of the United Nations in general.
Now, do you guys think that this is what happens in America? The more the Republicans and Democrats and everybody's fighting, it creates a vacuum for other terrible things to happen? What do you think?
But I think what they're doing is kind of the lowest common denominator. So a lot of people are being
So for those that are just coming into the room, please hit the like button, share, and subscribe if you like the material. We're covering now a video that covers how Christians are being attacked in certain parts of the world.
Placed by from X area, and people are being moved out for different reasons. So it's kind of easy to be vague like that. The fact that some of this and some of the worst of it is happening because of a deep anti-Christian animus, hatred of Christians, religiously based hatred of Christians, is something that the UN usually doesn't like to talk about. The jihadist ideology, of course, is not new. This is a challenge that we faced. We had, 9/11 more than over 20 years ago, 24 years ago. But the mindset, the ideology still exists, and it's kind of like a whack-a-mole situation where the Islamic State, for example, was kind of very strongly defeated in the Middle East. They had a pseudo-state the size of the United Kingdom between Syria and Iraq, and that was destroyed, especially during the first Trump administration. But they had branches, and so some of those branches have looked for weaker territory where they've
I think for the most part, because oftentimes religion is the way, it's like the lens through which people see their God. And typically, most religions teach that God is love. So it's hard to wrap your head around why these people are so bent on taking the lives of other people. Mashona says, me too, Mel. I like to hear them all. The truth lies somewhere out there. Okay, Captain Ahab, thank you, Mashona, for your comment. Captain says, ketchup ear Donald. Okay, so he doesn't think that Donald Trump was truly shot, but it was ketchup, folks. Adam Berg says CNN is the most biased news source in America. A lot of people feel that way. Google Sucks says the main problem is all of our politicians are already bought and paid for by people much richer than all of us. No matter what happens, we will lose, and our politicians will continue to get rich. It's a vicious cycle, folks. Noodle says, what's up, brother? I came across your channel from Myron's stream from the Diddy case. Oh, shout out to you. Thanks for having you here. Yes, right. I met Myron at the Diddy trial. We had a good time out there. Ron's Easy Fix, and welcome, and thank you for subscribing and coming back. I appreciate that. Ron Easy Fix says, why do Democrats get away with stealing money from Americans? Good question. Good question. Valid question. Matt says, Trumpstein. Okay, that's a new one. I haven't heard that one before. USA says, the libtard love government control. They can't get enough of it, right? USA, okay. Robert Aldrich says, I'm in a blue state. They're pushing communism. Okay, what state is that? Tell us all about it. Marks with blue hair says, Captain Ahab, the Arab, LOL, laugh out loud. Okay, Matt says, Trump and Diddy are Epstein boys for life. Okay, boys for life. Alien Chemtrail says, bullshit. Biden couldn't release the files. They are sealed while the PDF Maxwell was being tried. Okay, that's a valid argument. You have to come back. He made a solid point. The reason why they couldn't release it because they had an active case with Maxwell. George, monotone is terrible. Okay, thank you, George. George might be a bot, or he just might be an overthinking person, and that's beautiful too. Sheila says, elections manipulations because Trump knows GAP would lose the House, or GOP would lose the House of Reps otherwise. Okay, thank you very much. All right, let's get back to the video.
Flourished. So the mindset, this kind of aggressive ideological mindset still exists. It needs to be challenged, obviously, in Arabic by Arabs and by Muslims, who can fight that ideological fight. We should encourage them to do that. It also, sometimes people just have to be defeated and destroyed on the battlefield, and that's a way of sending a message. The jihadist message says, we will be victorious because God has given us the victory. So the fact, for example, that they were utterly defeated in the Middle East is a powerful ideological message. What we need to see is them to be utterly defeated in Africa. So people will say, people on the sidelines or people on the fence will say, well, obviously these people did not have the mandate of Allah.
All right, so that's enough of that. But basically, we see why the Christians are being targeted in various parts of the world. And it's quite amazing how the jihadists, they say that God will make them victorious. And then the Christians also pray to God. And at the end of the day, people are losing their lives. It's something to think about. And this has been going on well before even Bible times, many, many years, that people have been fighting over religion. Countless people have lost their lives due to this. So in conclusion, we're going to go back to this first video in regards to the election and whether or not it was stolen, folks. Let's get back to this briefly before we end the show, because a lot of people did not see that from the beginning.
I'm fucked. If we lose, I'm fucked.
It does seem that way.
I'm a technologist. I know a lot about computers. And I'm like, the last thing I would do is trust a computer program. Because it's just too easy to hack. It's too easy to...
So Elon Musk says the last thing he would do is trust a computer program. It's too easy to hack. Let's watch.
Just one line.
And he knows those computers better than anybody, all those computers, those vote counting computers. And we ended up winning Pennsylvania like in a landslide, so it was pretty good. It was pretty good. So thank you to Elon.
He said, computers are the greatest.
Thank you to Elon.
He looked at some that were just shipped in, some of these vote counting computers. He knew it before it even came in the door. He looked like at the back of it. Oh, I know that one. I mean, he knows he knows his stuff better than anyone.
Then they rigged the election And now we won, so I'm going to be your president for the Olympics. You don't have to vote. Don't worry about voting. The voting, we got plenty of votes. Yeah, we'll have it fixed. So
Donald Trump says, don't worry about voting. We have plenty of votes.
you're not going to have to vote.
And I said, we have nothing to hide as Republicans, right? We have nothing to hide.
But look at the data as it comes in from every county in Pennsylvania.
Oh, he can tell us.
Actually, the Sunday before the election, I had the opportunity to meet with Elon Musk at his house for a couple hours to talk about the election. And aren't you all glad he's on our side? And he told me.
Well, Elon Musk used to be on their side. He switched up now after he created Doge. He's no longer on Donald Trump's team.
He said, I can tell you right now, I'm responsible for this. He said, I'm involved in every battleground state, and we're going to win every battleground state. And I am convinced that whatever he did, whatever rocket science thing he did, made a huge difference in this election.
Apparently, Elon.
So what was the rocket science thing that Elon Musk did, folks? Tell us all about it. What do you think he did to make the election fall into the hands of Donald Trump? Maybe nothing bad at all, but what do you guys think?
Elon created an app, and he knew who won 4 hours before the results. So as the results were
Different voices, but the same song. Loving a world where we all belong. Kindness leading the way, breaking the chains. In the symphony of love, the theme remains. Embracing diversity, brighter days in sight. Watching the world sharing love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might. Watching the world sharing love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. The colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.